Over the past few years, social media has become a battleground of political ideologies, and last week was no exception.
And these dirty Palestinians.
On X, formerly known as Twitter, far-right accounts have exploded in popularity.
I honestly think that Hitler was a good guy based upon my own research.
Pushing narratives of Western decline, the so-called erosion of traditional British values, and the urgent need for cultural restoration. Their message? The West is falling and that immigration is to blame, and that they are the last line of defense against this so-called invasion. But here's what they're not telling you. Some of the biggest voices in this movement aren't even from the West. So how did these deceptive far-right influencers infiltrate X, all while profiting from outrage, misinformation, and division? Let's find out. One of the most viral far-right accounts on X in recent months is this account, Inevitable West. Their tweets were everywhere, preaching about the decline of Western civilization, the need for a return to true British values, and the dangers of immigration. You'd think that this account belonged to a staunch British nationalist, perhaps someone with deep roots in the UK, but there was just one problem. He's not British. These posts were carefully crafted to resonate with a certain audience, echoing the same rhetoric pushed by far-right movements across Europe and the US. But in reality, the person behind this wasn't even from the West. In fact, they had no real ties to Britain at all, because behind this carefully curated nationalist persona was an Indian male operating from Dubai with an agenda that had nothing to do with patriotism and everything to do with profit, deception, and digital manipulation. A businessman with a very different agenda. Reports reveal that Chandrakar, along with his business partner, were behind an illegal gambling empire, running the now infamous Mahadev app, a massive betting scheme that allegedly defrauded thousands of people. Chandrakar, under the alias of Inevitable West, crafted a far-right persona, strategically posting divisive content to tap into the growing outrage economy. And the more controversial his tweets were, the more engagement he got. His posts were even getting amplified by Elon Musk himself. This meant exposure to millions of users. His account was gaining traction, not because of authenticity, but because of algorithms favoring engagement, no matter how misleading the content was. And he wasn't the only one. Another major far-right account that gained attention is Radio Genoa, a vocal advocate for white nationalism and anti-immigration policies. This account built a following among those who believed they were fighting to defend Western civilization. But once again, the truth was something entirely different. The man behind Radio Genoa is not a white nationalist. In fact, he's not even white. Reports suggest he is an Asian male from Cambodia, completely fabricating a persona designed to stir controversy and profit from manufactured divisions. It's the same playbook. Pose as a concerned nationalist, push inflammatory content, trigger engagement from high-profile figures, and then profit from the exposure. For far-right content users like Inevitable West and Radio Genoa, they know exactly how to manipulate the system, posting provocative takes on race, culture, and politics to maximize the engagement and push their posts further into the mainstream. It's not about genuine beliefs. It's about virality, influence, and ultimately financial gain. Some of these accounts generate income through subscriptions, ad revenue, donations, and even paid promotions from political groups or ideological movements. Essentially, they are not in it because they care about Western civilization. They are weaponizing it for financial and social capital. Social media has become a playground for deception, where anonymous accounts can fabricate identities, stir division, and manipulate public opinion without anyone questioning their authenticity. What we're witnessing isn't just a handful of opportunists exploiting social media. It's part of a broader global trend where nationalism, misinformation, and digital manipulation are being weaponized for political and financial gain. The rise of far-right narratives on X, often fueled by actors outside from the West, highlights how ideology has become borderless and how platforms like X have become a battleground for influence, division, and radicalization. As consumers of information, we must be more critical than ever, questioning not just the content we see, but also who is behind it. what their motives are, and how their influence extends beyond what we see on the surface. The struggle against misinformation, digital extremism, and manipulation isn't just about calling out individual accounts. It's about understanding the systems that allow them to thrive and pushing back against them with awareness, education, and critical thinking.